Elite Facts presents
8 ridiculous reasons people have been fired. 8. Celebrity guest pilot. Now, this goes without saying, but one of the hardest jobs in the world has to be a pilot. Sure, all the years of training prepare you for the task at hand, but you have to imagine how stressful the job must be on a day-to-day basis, as you pretty much have people's lives in the palms of your hands. Well, in December of 2012, a pilot in Mexico was jettisoned after letting a famous singer wear his hat, sit in his seat, and control his passenger aircraft. Yeah, this guy deserves to be fired. Esmeralda Ugalde and her friend Samadhi Zendejas were granted special access to the cockpit of a Boeing jet on a flight to Cancun, and they showed their gratitude to the pilot by posting pictures on Twitter to highlight how much of an incompetent tool he was. A spokesman for the airline, Magni Charters, said, quote, "We cannot allow people to enter the cabin, even if they are actors or actresses," which was apparently news to the now ex-pilot. 7. Field trip to Walmart. In October of 2012, a math teacher from Oklahoma by the name of Heather Cagle wanted to do something nice for her class, so she decided to take it upon herself to take a spontaneous field trip out of school to a local Walmart for some ice cream. Sounds like a nice thing to do, right? Well, unfortunately, taking kids away from school without telling anyone is otherwise known as kidnapping, and Cagle found herself hauled in front of the school board for not getting the parents' permission for her spontaneous little field trip. However, if this was, in fact, the full story, then Ms. Cagle would have our sympathy. I mean, come on, we all wished we had teachers as thoughtful as that. Now, why does she not get our sympathy, you might be asking yourself? Well, how about the fact that her field trip involved students being shoved in a car trunk for the drive? You see, Cagle forgot another golden rule. Don't put children in the trunk of your car. The bizarre thing is, the board only voted 4-1 for her dismissal, and 50 parents turned up to support her, which means there are at least 51 people in Oklahoma who think it's okay for kids to be shoved into a teacher's car trunk, and who don't think it's necessary to get their permission to take children out of school on a field trip. We guess her heart was in the right place, but good Lord, is she stupid. 6. Someone else can do it. This one we're actually impressed with. So in the United States, there was this guy who we're going to refer to as Jim, who quote-unquote worked for a web development company, and who was discovered in 2013 to have hired a Shanghai consultancy to do the work that he was getting paid for. For this small service, he paid them 1/5 of his salary just to do his dirty work. You might be wondering who loses in this scenario. Well, the answer is you. You lose because Jim still earned close to 6 figures, and his working day pretty much consisted of looking at Facebook every other minute and watching funny memes on YouTube before clocking out at 5 o'clock and going home. Now, what makes this story even better is the simple fact that he had been doing this exact same thing with a number of different companies over many years, and had even won Employee of the Month awards for it. We can't be mad, and we certainly don't hate Jim for living the life we probably would if we had thought of this plan first. But how did all those companies miss this for so long? 5. Royal disaster. So arguably one of the most stressful jobs has to be something that is related to serving royalty. One of the jobs that comes to mind is being a royal cook for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. Well, Adam Steele, who's one of those cooks, was fired in 2013 for headbutting another member of the staff and then punching them for good measure. That would be worth at least a warning wherever he'd done it, but the unbelievable thing is that this happened during a party in Buckingham Palace itself. Fighting someone in Buckingham Palace is like burping in a Buddhist temple. It's just wrong. Apparently, Steele took offense at someone saying he'd had too much to drink before proving them right. He left the other guy with a bloodied nose and face, but at least taking care to avoid the poor guy's crown jewels. That's about as bad as you can get in Buckingham Palace without being accused of treason, but Steele seems to have avoided jail. Still though, good luck finding a job somewhere else after being sacked by the royal family. 4. Fired on his first day. Starting a new job is never easy. No matter what it is, you're always going to be out of your comfort zone on your first day. That being said, when it comes to being a reporter, it also must be the most exciting day of your life. On April 21st, 2013, A.J. Clementi was a rookie news anchor who was about to start his first broadcast for a professional station. Sounds exciting, right? Well, he didn't even get a chance to see his office because by the time 5 o'clock hit, he'd already lost his job. Clemente went viral after saying "fucking shit" live on camera before his first news broadcast had ever even started. The 30 seconds that followed were simply beautiful. First, his co-host introduced him, saying he would be the new co-anchor, while clearly knowing that he would actually be gone by the next commercial break. 3. Fired for being a good coach? When you're a basketball coach, it's part of your job description to help your team win. Standard stuff, right? But there's apparently a strict definition of exactly how comfortable is too comfortable, as Micah Grimes found out in 2009. That was the year he guided his girls' high school basketball team to a 100-0 victory over an opposing team, which was from an academy that specializes in helping kids with learning difficulties, such as dyslexia. The Covenant School, where Grimes coached, is a private Christian school. It determined that running up the score was not Christ-like, and therefore was an embarrassment to the school. Well, isn't "thou shalt not run up the score" a commandment or something? Anyway, Grimes refused to apologize, and people in attendance noted that the spectators were egging the team on as they approached the 100-point mark. But still, he lost his job. 2. Fired for stopping a carjacking. So when someone does something heroic, they're usually treated with respect and, in some cases, are even rewarded. Well, here's a case in which the exact opposite happened. Juan Canales, a father of 3, worked as a waiter in a Thai restaurant in Fort Lauderdale. One day while at work, he noticed a commotion outside and saw that a woman was being carjacked by a knife-wielding attacker. Putting his own well-being aside, Canales rushed outside and tackled the carjacker to the ground, then waited for the police to arrive. After saving this woman from being attacked and possibly even saving her life, he was rewarded with a pink slip from his employer. Apparently, he was fired over the publicity he generated by rushing out to play the role of hero. After all, if there's anything a restaurant owner hates, it's good, free publicity and brave employees who are model citizens. 1. 50-year-old crime. Now, a lot of the previously mentioned stories seem to be somewhat reasonable in terms of why someone has been fired from a job, but this one is just plain ridiculous. Richard Eggers, a 68-year-old native of Des Moines, was fired from his job at a Wells Fargo bank because he had committed a crime. Now, that part seems reasonable, right? I mean, you don't want your company associated with a criminal. Well, not when you take into account the fact that this crime was committed way back in 1963. So if the crime happened over 50 years ago and is only affecting him now, it must have been something terrible, right? Was he arrested for armed robbery, or was it murder? Well, actually, it turned out that Eggers had used a cardboard cutout of a dime to operate a washing machine in a laundromat when he was a teenager. Eggers was caught up in new federal banking regulations, which forbade the employment of anyone who has been convicted of a crime involving, quote, dishonesty, breach of trust, or money laundering. It could be just us, but it seems that in this case, they wildly misunderstood what money laundering actually means.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.